Hello and welcome to another episode of the Women Can Do show where we talk about not what's trending, but what's purposeful. I am excited to be back. I hope you all are having an amazing week and we are back. We're still excited about 2026. We are really going into this year with intention, with purpose, with true purpose and really walking in that and really diving into that. So we are going to be really more intentional about providing shows to you that do so. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome my special guest for today, Simene Walden. Welcome to the Women Can Do show, honey.
Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your platform.
Yeah,
I really count it an honor. Thank you so much.
I am so excited to have you. So, just so you all know, uh Simene is a student engagement specialist and character development coach, also known as the student teacher. I love that. Simene received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award in 2024 for her work in education over the last 2 decades. Wow, what a blessing. So, before we get into what you do, just share with us briefly who is Simene.
So Simene is it's just a daughter, a woman, looking to live a life that's purposeful, looking to live a life that's pleasing unto God and be able to impact and help as many people on my journey as I can. I grew up with my mom. My dad separated when I was two, so it was my mom and my two oldest brothers. And I seen the work ethic from her. I got that hard work and strength from her. My brothers were, my bodyguards around, and so growing up, it just taught me to be resilient, but to be quiet and not necessarily speak up for myself a lot of times because I always had other people around me that did it when they could, and other times when they weren't around, I was kind of like this shy little girl who just kind of let other people, say and do whatever. And it wasn't until I got older when I started to resent that and I became mean, but I
Mm.
still wasn't taking up for myself. And so I learned that. And then over time, as God started to soften my heart, I became a person who just wanted to share my story to empower and free other people to let them know that you don't have to be who you used to be and that your
Yeah.
current circumstance is not where you will have to end up being. So that's who I
Mm.
am. I'm just a woman. I've been in education, like you said, for 2 decades. And it wasn't until God showed me in those students. He's like, that little girl that
Wow.
you're standing in front of is the same little girl that you have on the inside of you. And so he used education to really
Yeah.
engage my heart and draw me to him. And so that's who I am, and that's what I do now. So thank you again so much.
That I what is so powerful is how you said he used that, he used education to draw you like you to make you see what's in that little girl is what was in you. Wow. I think that is so amazing. So you're are you mainly centered on youth
Yes.
education?
Yeah. So my focus is K-12. Um,
Okay.
education with young people. I spent 20 years doing middle school reading, and so now I do professional developments with educators and leaders around social emotional learning, building healthy relationships, and that character education piece with the students. Because it's not necessarily about, and I always said, it's not about who's the smartest in this classroom. It's not who can get all the right answers, but how is your character? Do people like you?
Mm,
With
mm,
people? Do you know how to talk to people? Do you know how to ask them what you need? Do you know how to share your feelings and express what's
mhm.
going on with you? And so that's been my whole big thing: building relationships and building good character and good strong character in our students.
So what drew you to that though? What drew you to student engagement and character
So
education?
so for the first, it is Bridget, it's ironic to me because the students, even my first 9 years of teaching, students would say, "You my favorite teacher, and I love you so much." And I'm thinking, well, my God, if I'm your favorite teacher, what is how is these other people treating you? And it wasn't that I treated them mean, but I was
Yeah.
I hated myself, and I was going through stuff, and so
Wow.
and I could be brash, and I wasn't. I mean, I was still respectful to them, but
Yeah.
love, it wasn't that. Like I took a job because straight out of college, they
Right.
were moving college students into the projects. I was in the projects. I
Yeah.
didn't even grow up in the projects. So to
Yeah.
go from living with your mama in a nice brick home to going living
Yeah.
in the projects, third year college, it was just like this can't be my life. So I was trying to get a job. I
Wow.
hired me as a teacher. I thought it
Yeah.
was such a joke. So I'm like, who the heck would put me as your teacher? You had holidays off, weekends off, summers
Right.
off. That's why I started teaching, and I got good. I had really good mentors or shit. Like I had some bomb mentors, older women who was
That's
like,
important.
so important. I'm gonna take it under my wings. I learned everything I could about English.
Mhm.
I learned all the skill sets, what they told me. Most of the time, what they told me to do, I did besides my personal development. But academically, I got it. And I learned how
Yeah.
to teach them. I learned how to help them learn how to read, do language arts. I always had top scores, highest scores a lot of times in the building. So I academically, it was like, you felt good, you were successful, but
Yeah.
I didn't have no good relationship with those students.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Where
yeah.
I should have asked you this first. What does your name mean?
It means one who
I know it has a meaning.
it means one who hears.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't even find it out until like I was probably like 28 years old. I had no idea. All I knew is that my daddy was 18 when he saw this lady on The Price is Right named Simene. He says when he has a baby girl, he would name her Simene. I was his first daughter, and he named me Simene. And then probably like a couple years when I was in college, that was when MySpace, I think, was popping. I ended up chatting with a man named Camille. He was from Turkey. He was like, "Do you know there's a Christian monastery over here named Simene?" And I always
Wow.
say I have to go and visit it. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, that's something full circle. Like it, how that. Oh my gosh, you are in alignment with your name, the meaning of your name. Oh my gosh. Woo.
No one has ever pointed that out to me. Like with us, no one's ever pointed that out ever.
Yes, 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 yes. So when was it that what was the moment when you realized that engagement was the missing link?
When I started seeing how students will respond to other teachers who didn't just engage with them academically, but engage with them personally. How you doing? What you got going on? They want to know about the
Mm,
person, not the student, but the person.
mm,
Because we all,
mm.
and I will always say, we all come to school with these labels, whether it's teacher, assistant principals, student,
Yep.
Matt, whatever you do, but take away the title
Yeah.
person, and they are little people that's going to grow up to be adults one day. And when
Yeah.
I realized how the coaches made a difference, right? Not because it was basketball or football or whatever sport, it's because they engaged them as little people to say, I want to know how you are doing. I
How
was
you
like, that's
doing?
it. That's it. I
Wow.
need to check on them as people
As
first.
people. Yeah, as human being. Yeah.
Mhm,
We did a show on we have another our Bridging the Gap podcast that
mhm,
my son hosts. Um And we did a show about that. We interviewed in one show. We interviewed a youth pastor. We interviewed a youth mentor. He has his own organization, and
mhm.
we talked about that in the show about just asking the kid, "How are you?"
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like take your so I think one example he gave was a football coach didn't realize what that I guess came down hard on the kid, but not
Mhm.
realizing that you don't know what that kid went through before they got there. And so your first interaction shouldn't be why are you late?
Mhm.
You know, find out how are you? Are you okay? Did something happen?
Mhm.
Yeah, that is so and like you said, again, take the title away. Sometimes you gotta step out of the title.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, to really connect and engage.
And something you said when you was on my podcast, you said that you had to remember when you was there.
Mm,
It was so I'm originally from North Carolina. I moved to Maryland. I just moved back to North Carolina. I had
yeah.
one of my oldest brothers. He passed away December made a year, and so I moved back home
Mm,
with my mom for about 8 months in August, and then God deployed me somewhere else back to
yeah.
Charlotte. But I lived in Maryland, and when I first moved to Maryland from Charlotte, um, he had me to see me and those students. He had me like start doing a prayer call for the young people. A prayer call every Sunday night. First it was on Periscope when Periscope was a thing. Then it went to conference call, and then I started doing Facebook Lives. From the Facebook Live, that's when I did my first book, Prayers and Devotions for the Educational System. But as I was praying, that's when he told me like, you have to see you. You're the little girl, and
Mm,
you're the little girl that you're praying for. These
yeah.
issues that you see with these little girls and little boys, these are the same issues that Simene have to deal with herself. And so
Wow.
as he had me on my face praying for children, I was inadvertently praying for myself. And that was
Mm,
the turning point. That was about 2014, 2015 when I got to Maryland. And that was just like when I started seeing them in a whole different light, like a whole
yeah.
light.
Yeah. 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 Wow. That is so, ooh, that's powerful.
Yeah.
It's like you had to pray for the little girl inside of you in order to help that other little the oh my god.
Yes.
Woo, God, honey, look at God. That's how God works.
Yep.
That's how God works. That's how God works. So how did your career shape how you coach students and teachers? Because you coach teachers and students or
Yes.
teachers? Okay.
Yeah. So, when I first started, actually, I was this cold teacher. I mean, it was just a job for me.
Yeah.
I was respectful to the students, but it was, I would go home and get high. I would go home and get drunk. I would just
Mhm.
be a mess. It was just like, oh,
Wow. Yeah.
still trying to figure out how the heck I become a teacher, but I know how to read and I'm not
Yeah.
teaching to read. I'm getting these scores. So I guess I keep going, do this for a while until I can figure out something else. And there's something else eventually came, but it wasn't
Yeah.
outside the station. And so what did you ask me? Because I feel like I done lost my train of thought.
Well, how did your career in the education system help you shape how you coach students and teachers
All right.
today?
So because I was that mean, disgruntled person, not with the educational system, not with students, not with my coworkers, but with me and with
Mhm.
I had experienced, right? It wasn't until I got me to get well, until God helped get me together. And I'm still getting together today. But
Yeah.
until I could see my faults and my flaws, and when I started seeing the things that I experienced as a little girl, the things I saw in school, then I could relate to what I saw within the students doing. Because the Bible says there's nothing new under the sun. So it may be a different name for it,
That's
but
right.
a lot of the
That's
stuff that
right.
we see with our
It's
young people, I
yeah.
mean, it's happened. Like
Yeah.
my great grandma and them, they were having babies at 13 and 14 and 15, right? So when
Hello.
I seen a child, it's like, honey, listen, this is
Yeah.
nothing new now. Come
Nothing new
on.
under the sun. Yeah.
Um, and when I started to realize I understand and I've been there. And when I would see teachers who were mean to children, who did not like children, it
Yeah.
clicked for me that it's not necessarily the child, it's what's going on personally with
Yep.
them.
Yeah.
And I started to make sure that I built good relationship with the students. Forget about reading because he already taught me, like my mentors taught me how to get good reading scores.
Right.
He had to teach me how to build relationships. And so the first
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
20 minutes of my class every single day, because people say don't you waste instructional time. Well, listen, if you're not getting to students anyway, they ain't on
Mm,
instruction on anyway.
come
So I
on.
spent at least 20 minutes every day, ask them how you were doing, especially on the weekends. Hey guys, how y'all doing? What y'all do for the
Yep.
weekend? First it would be like a couple hands go up, and then more every week, more hands will go every day, more hands will go up. And then sometimes I have to let me say, okay, guys, you got 60 seconds. Like, I want to hear everybody. I didn't cut it off. I just said we got to cut back the time because it will like go all the way into like a lot of our
Right.
class time. And so I always figured out who they were as people. I found
Yeah.
the family dynamics. I found about, siblings. I found out about friendships. I always knew when stuff was going on at school. And so we can go ahead and squash that and talk about that and mediate that before it became a big thing, because I learned who these students were and they felt comfortable talking to me, not because they felt like Miss Walden was just trying to get information. It's like, she really do care about me. She really like me. And I want to go to
Mhm.
her because I know if I go tell her this, she not gonna fuss at me and she not gonna say, oh my God, why are you doing this? I do ask them, well, why are you doing this? But it's not like a trying to tell you. It's like, let me understand why you made this decision, so I'm
Yeah.
giving you some wisdom on a better decision. I used to tell them, like, guys, it's cool that you talk to your friends about whatever you got going on, but if you're only talking to your friends about it, you're only going to have a 13-year-old perspective, and the 13-year-old perspective is not going to get you far if you're trying to make a different decision. So you might want to have people that you can talk to that's
Mm.
older, parent, someone that you trust, that you can get a different perspective out of it. And that has been the game, just seeing where I was and seeing how I was with students, and then seeing the result of me changing. It was like, I have to be able to help more students, and I have to be able to help more teachers to see we have such a great responsibility. Rochelle, when I think about this, like, Jesus was Robona, he was a teacher. That's the chief
Mm.
calling in the profession of the like the chief teacher. And it's like, I want to be a good example. That we used to have these shirts. It says, teachers made all other professions possible. Right?
Yeah.
We have the responsibility and the influence that a teacher has. We can make or break a child's, like,
Yeah.
esteem, motivation. And it's like, I wanted to just be a good steward over that going forward, because I know for so many years I was not a good steward. And I had to definitely ask the Lord, hey, please, I'm sorry for, the way I
Yeah.
treated children and parents
Yeah.
sometimes, but help me not do that now. And that's what helped me, is my mistakes, and seeing where I messed up so much at is what changed me and catapulted me. He showed me, you little girl, you're in here,
Yeah.
girl. So come on, get yourself
Woo.
together, lady.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. I love that. So, would you say, I was going to ask you, why do students disengage? Would that be it? Because I said this on our other podcast, that
Mhm,
kids want to be seen and heard. They want to know that you see me and you hear me.
mhm,
And so that, to me, that's the beginning of the connection with
mhm.
them. So what reason would why do you see that kids disengage?
Students disengage because, one, exactly, they don't feel seen, they don't feel heard, and that it
Yeah,
can be they don't feel seen and heard prior to coming to school, in
yeah,
the household that they're in. Because I know for me, and I get it. I guess I'm not a parent, right? But I get
yeah,
it. Like, even with my parents, do, because I said it, because I'm an adult, and I mean, now in 2025, I mean, it works, but it don't really work. Like, we want to know why we telling us this, because it's like, just because you're shutting me down, right? It doesn't make me feel comfortable to come to you and talk to you about the other things that I have. So a lot of them are disengaged prior to coming to school. And then
mm,
you have teachers, and I thank God for teachers. When I was growing up, there was such a high level of respect for
yeah,
educators that's
yeah,
not necessarily there anymore. And it
yeah,
was like, you listen, right? And it was like, they taught you, they lectured you, and you sat there and listened and did your work, and you weren't complaining. Now you have to be able to engage, like, activity wise in your classroom. You have to make sure you
mm-hmm,
talking at students, right? Because
mm-hmm,
they gonna zone out. I mean, they got phones and all the other things, right? They want to talk. So I incorporated all of that stuff into the classroom to make sure that they were engaged. And what keeps them from disengaged, one, is because they don't feel seen and they don't feel heard, and they don't feel like what they're bringing to the table is the exact answer, right? With reading language arts, you had a lot of different perspectives. Now, if you
yeah,
way off talking about some that has nothing to do with the story or the skill that we talking about, but if you can back up your stuff with evidence and reasoning, you are definitely heard. And even if you were not necessarily right, we still listen to you. And so when you can make sure that when students feel like you actually, and people always say this, a student won't learn from a person that they don't like. If they feel
mm.
like you don't like them, they're gonna think that you're mean, they're gonna think that you play
And they
favoritism.
shut down. The
They
wall is up.
totally shut down. And it's like, okay. And then they'll say, well, she don't like me or he don't like me. It's like, are you sure? But students really, I tell you, students are brutally honest. They will tell you, they can read you like it ain't no,
Yeah,
they know you having a bad day. They know when you ain't really feeling it. They know if, like, teachers don't like each other. So it's like the engagement. If they don't feel like you like them, if they don't feel like you are being fair to them, if they don't feel like you hear them and gonna listen to them, they will totally shut down with you. And if you definitely play favorites, I remember, like, my early years, one of the students, the boys used to be like, Miss Farley, you don't like little boys, you only call on the girls. And I had to really sit with them, like, is that true? And it was true.
mm,
So when I say it was true, because see, we're reading, and this is not for all students, but we're reading, it was more read, let's sit down, let's do this story.
Yeah.
Boys don't want to just sit down and do that.
Nope.
The girls
Mhm.
would do that. So I was like, well, the girls listen, but it was like I had to find ways to put activities and put things in place where the boys would feel comfortable. And then
Yep.
after a while, the girls were like, "Oh my God, Miss Waddle, why you always let the boy?" And it's like, no, I'm just trying to find ways to mesh with it because with girls, they gonna fall in line. They'll,
Yeah.
they'll much if you
Yeah.
do activity, get up, they gonna do it. But yeah, so it's like you really have to make sure that students know you actually like them and you want to see them get it and you want to see them succeed. They
Yeah.
they will pay attention to what you say. They will go above and beyond. They'll tell other people, "Hey, did you hear what Miss Walden said? Don't you be doing like?" They will really go to bat. They become like your little administrators in your classroom because it's like
Yeah.
you're not disrespecting Miss Walden, and you're gonna pay attention, and we're gonna listen, and
Right.
we're gonna do
Yeah.
what we need to do. So, yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's an engagement strategy that you like you said, the girls, it was easier, right? They like to read, so they're gonna sit and they're gonna read. Whereas boys, you have to have a different strategy for them. So what is one engagement strategy that you use that worked for those boys?
So one of the thing is I always have to incorporate some type of physical activity in my lesson.
Yep.
And so I always gave an option, right? So if we're doing a story, and we're talking about something, I'm stopping and we're reading, we're engaging, they get an option. You can either turn and talk to somebody and answer this question I just asked, well, what is the character thinking right now? What do you think? What's the make foreshadow what you think's gonna happen? What's the inference going? Whatever the questions that I'm asking them, you can turn and talk, or you can get up and go talk to somebody, right? Because of course they're still young, they're still learning, right? So their bones are still growing. These boys need to get up, and I always tell them, listen, if you need to walk around or if you need to stand up, just go stand up in the back of the class and do not disturb us, okay? And if
Yeah.
you're gonna be turning and all the stuff you do, make sure ain't nobody behind you and can't nobody see. So I will allow them to get up and do the talking. It wasn't just to sit and go talk to your
Mm,
neighbor, turn and talk to one another. It could be we would do like brain breaks. I put a little activity on the
mm.
board. Sometimes I would do like little songs. I love Gracie's Corner. The students talk about Gracie's Corner is like
Yeah. Yeah.
put Gracie's Corner up there, 2-3 minutes. We have a little dance break. Some of the people will kind of sit there and just look and smile at each other, and everybody else having a nice time. And when the song goes out, we know let's go on back and let's get back to our studies.
Yeah. Yeah. And you and again, I love that you use the physical activity because the boys again are more active, naturally. They're more active, they're more physical. So it's like you gotta find what works for them. Like, you can't be the teacher that just like throws them away because you know what I mean? Like 'cause I've seen it where a teacher will only focus on her academically strong
Yep.
students that are well behaved.
Hmm.
And the other ones, it's like I can't deal with them, so I'm gonna send them off
Yep.
to the principal's office or send them to another
Hmm.
teacher. I have seen it.
Hmm. Hmm. And you know what I found out with that, Rochelle, those become some of the students that would be your biggest advocate, and they are some of the brightest students. They may academically, they may be, it may not show on their report card.
Yeah,
Some of
yeah,
them, they may be a grade level or two behind, but when you give them the right love and
yeah,
care, and they know that you care about them, those students will work so hard. I've seen students who be 2, 3, 4 grade levels behind come, we closing those gaps because they realize I got to pay attention. And a lot of times, a lot of that behavior issues is because they don't get it and because the teacher's
mm,
not taking the time. And of course, with teachers, shout out to all the educators because we know it's a big task, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah,
all kinds of levels, all kind of personalities in your classroom.
yeah,
Telling you love is universal and people understand that. If you can
yeah,
love on them and actually like them, right, really like them, they
yeah,
will know and they will do their best. And you can let them know, hey, listen, I know that this may be a struggle for you. I know reading may not be your thing. But if you pay attention to what Miss Walden is saying and you let me help you and I'm going to pair you up with, and I'll talk to other students, hey, if there's somebody that I need to partner you up with, can you? I'm going to partner you up with, let's say, Morgan. Morgan's going to help you whenever you need help. If I can't get to you right then, all you got to do is whisper to her and she's going to help you, okay? I'm
yeah,
telling you, that stuff helped. Especially they knew I was their support, and then they had allies in the classroom. They're not gonna laugh at them. They're not gonna talk about them, but we gonna help because we want you to succeed just like we want to succeed. Because at the end of the day, when you have classes where everybody's academically gifted or everybody want to do their work, they get annoyed when there's disruption in the classroom because it's
Yep.
like, gosh, come on. So it's like, we
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
help you so you're not disrupting us. What can we do to help you so we can all get this learning going?
Yeah. 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 So can you with that, can you share um a moment that reaffirm the work that you do? Everybody has that story where you're like, wow, this is it, like where it really made you feel like this is purpose, like this is why I do what I do.
Yeah. So when I first moved to Maryland, it was 20, I think it's 2015, 2014, 2015. And that first year I was praying, but it's a middle school I worked at, Buck Lodge Middle School. That's the longest school I worked at. Worked for 6 years. Loved that place.
Mm.
And ironically, Rochelle, I'm gonna get to the other part, but ironically, the principal who hired me, he did it over the phone, and he says, "When you come to Maryland, I'm gonna help you find an apartment." That's when I didn't know anybody, I didn't have family. One of my brother who passed, he was in DC at the time. I was like, "I don't have family in Maryland." He was like, "Don't worry, when you come." I told him the church I want to be a part. He said, "I'm gonna find you a nice apartment because you're single, you're a young woman. I'll put you in a nice, show you some
Mhm.
nice place." He did exactly that, Miss Rochelle. When I came to Human Resources, signed my papers. I came to the school. I met him. He had printed out all these papers for apartments, all the things. He's like, "Miss Walden, it's going to be great. We're so glad you on board." Rochelle, to my big, unbeknownst to me, that was his last day there. He went and worked for Apple. I got a whole new. There was not even a principal hire after he left. It was
Oh,
a
wow.
principal the first day, and then the principal came like 2 or 3 days later. And he was my principal the whole. His name is Rich. He was my principal the whole time. Ironically, when I resigned from Maryland last August, on my way out the door from central office, I seen my principal, and he was like, "Miss Wall." I was like, "Mr. Nance," and I felt like God. It was like that was the beginning of me coming to Maryland, and this
Mm.
was the enemy coming to Maryland. But what defined it for me, and what when I first got to that school, probably like 2 or 3 years into that, I started speaking and doing professional. I always been speaking,
Mhm.
development, just because I was teaching. I liked it. I didn't know like the business
Right.
side of it, right? And so I remember one day I told him, because I was department chair, I was doing a couple of things. I told him, I'm gonna have to step back because I can't teach and do all these other things and still do my thing. He was like, "I ain't no hate in this world, and do your thing." And like whenever I
Mm.
take off, whenever I had to be somewhere, he never tripped. I even invited him to a lot of different conferences that I went to. I
Yeah.
introduced him to a lot of people, but it was my first year when I got to Maryland, and I've been praying for the students. And I remember one day Antonio and Lucy came to the room, and I was teaching the honors class at the time, and for whatever reason, that class they just didn't like Miss Walden. It's like, oh my God! So they was all turned up, and they came into the classroom and said, "Miss Walden, we got something to tell you." And I was like, "Okay." So Lucy said our teacher, Mr. Ward, had a project, and it said we had to pick a teacher. We had to pick an adult outside of school who was like a mom, a parent to us, right? Who is a great influence over us. And I was like, "Okay."
Right.
And Antonio says, "And I chose you because you're like my school mom."
Oh.
She was like, "Yeah, we love you so much." Rochelle, when they said that, no lie, it was like, I don't know if you hear in the Bible when it talks about like um the baby leaped in Mary's belly. It was like something leaped in.
Mm.
And at
Wow.
that moment, I
Wow.
was like, they no longer my students, they my children.
Children.
And I started seeing them in a different way. That was sixth
Mm.
grade. Then I moved up to eighth grade. And I remember at the end of the year, my eighth grade, that was 2 years later. His name was Davis. At the end of the, he was like, "Miss Walden, they wrote me all these notes about goodbyes." And I used to cry every year at the end of the year, like it was in the word, like I was gonna see them. Because a lot of them
Yeah.
I've never seen again. And he was like, "Thank you for treating us like your sons." And I said,
Wow.
"That's it.
Ooh, that's every oh my gosh. Yeah. That's it right there.
That's it. That was
That's
it."
it right there. Wow.
Mhm.
That just gave me chills. That is it right there.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's impact.
Mhm.
For them to say that shows you that you made an impact in that child's life, that you served that child in some way. Um, wow.
Yeah. And when he said that to me, because that's how they was hugging me, like they was hugging me.
Yeah.
broke down. He was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm okay. I'm okay." But when I say that really touched me, Michelle,
Mhm.
and I was back home in North Carolina by the time they graduated, and
Yeah.
I don't know why I was on YouTube that day. I guess I saw on YouTube, but PG County's graduation came up. Do you know I was able to see Davis and some of my students that I taught walk across the stage, and I remember
Wow.
call uh Little Caesars one night when I was still in Maryland, right before I left, and added made my order whatever. And it's like, can I get a name? It's like Walden, and the person online he was like, Miss Walden, like, did you teach? And I was like, yeah. He's like, at Bucklash? I was like, yeah. He was like, oh my God, I'm Davis. I used to be my teacher. I was like, oh my God, Davis. And when I
Wow.
got to see him, Rochelle, we gave each other the biggest hug and the biggest
Yeah.
like, Lord, thank you. Like he's grown up. Like, so yeah, that moment, right? Those two moments right there was like the defining, like you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, that's wow, wow. So you mentioned keynote speaker.
Mm-hmm.
So you are a keynote speaker. What is your presentations focus on? Like what is your focus as a keynote speaker?
Social emotional learning, how to build healthy relationships with your students and your staff and your family
Mm,
members, and the character education piece. How does our character shape how we educate our students?
mm. And that so do you do that in schools? Like do you
So I do that at schools, I do it in organizations, I do it
that's
in
good.
hmm
It's because that's really needed and that's really needed in schools. I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
So, what is one message you wish every educator or student could hear? Let's start with the educator first.
Educator first is don't forget your me. Don't forget your morals and ethics. No matter what happens, no matter what a child does,
Morals.
no matter what another staff member does to you, what another adult,
Mm,
your morals and ethics all the
more
time.
than
Because
ethics.
at the end of the day, we gonna give an account for how we treat these young people. The Bible says that children are an inheritance for God.
Come on, come
We
on.
account for how we treat them. And
Yeah,
say they're just children, that means we have to be the mature ones. If we say
yeah,
they just kids and they don't know and they immature, we got to be the mature one and really make sure that we remember our morals and ethics. And I always say this: I don't have children, but I want to make sure that I treat children the way I would want somebody to treat my children. If
mm,
I'm not in front of them, if they're not in my care, but they're in someone else's care, I want to
yeah.
treat them the same way I would hope somebody would treat my nieces and my nephews when they go to school.
That's right. That's right. And again, it goes back to that child telling you you're a school mom. You know what I mean? Like even though you don't have kids, you do.
Yeah, yeah, and people always say, "Why do you have?" I
That's what it's about. You
Mhm,
got a bunch of kids. You
mhm, a lot, yeah, a lot.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, wow. I love that.
Mhm.
Uh, so you're a educator, you're the student teacher, you mentor students and teachers, you're a keynote speaker. And again, the keynote speaker thing, I think it's so important what your focus is because that's needed, in the school. So I love that you're using your education, your and your career in the schools to using those tools in other ways to empower and inspire, other educators.
Yeah.
And so you also have your podcast, Blue Velvet. Tell us
Hey.
about Blue Velvet, honey. God is moving you in all kind of areas to touch the people, to touch the people. He uses us as the vessels, and I see him using you in all of these areas. So tell us about Blue Velvet Podcast. Tell us the concept of the podcast.
Amen. Thank you so much. So, Blue Velvet Podcast. I won't say it's a spinoff of Speak Life when I did that, but Blue Velvet is where you have soft conversations about hard truth, where people come and
Mm,
share something that has been hard for them to deal with, hard for them to overcome, hard for them to get through, but sharing it in a way that's it's gonna land on somebody softly that they will be able to receive it. Because it's not always about what you say, but it's how you say. And this is
mm,
for any young person that will watch this. A lot of times The things that you feel like are impossible, the things you feel like you may get in trouble for, the things that you feel like, no one will ever forgive me. God will always forgive you, but there will be people that you can go to and have your hard conversation with, that's going to give you some soft truth. Not ignore what you done, not ignore any consequence, but they're going to love you, and they're going to love you through it, and they will be able to walk you through it. And so that's what Blue Velvet is all about, having this safe place to land. I always say, and Rochelle, in school, they talk about, safe schools. I always say you can't be a safe school unless you're a safe person.
Come
Safe
on.
people make up safe schools. You can't just
Mm,
have a safe school and everybody in there is not safe, right? So you got to be a safe person.
yeah.
Classroom could be the safe place, right? The
Yeah.
parking lot could be the safe place if I'm a
Yeah.
safe person. And so
Yeah.
making sure that we become the people that we wish that we had. Like I wanted to
Yeah.
become the teacher that I didn't necessarily have. I had some great teachers growing up, but I wanted to become a teacher where students can feel like I can go to her. She's gonna correct me in love, but she's also gonna redirect me and help me get to where I need to go.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that. Um and like I said, God gives us these tools and gifts. Like you said, you didn't know in the beginning, you just took teaching as a job,
A job.
not knowing it's your purpose. You know what I mean? Not knowing that this is the way that God was going to use you to first of all spread his word,
Mhm.
and to empower and inspire not just students but teachers as well, educators as well, because in order for a student to be touched, to be transformed or empowered, the person who is in assignment over them needs to be empowered too. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just how it's like I with the I Can Do organization. I remember when I first started out, it was like, okay, I want to mentor young girls, but it's like, wait a minute, what about their mom?
Oh,
Because I can do all of this work with them. I can put hours into trying to empower them, and that'll be a temporary fix if they're going home and
ooh.
the person who is over them in authority over them is not empowered, and not just the mom but the teachers. You know what I mean? The
Mhm,
child is with the teacher most of the day,
mhm,
more than they're with their parent if you calculate the hours. So again, educators need to be empowered as well in order to be able to pour into and empower these kids. So I love that you took that and decided to start coaching. And here's the thing, you experienced it. You knew it was you, right? So you're able to take from your transformation and pour it into others. And I think that is a beautiful thing. I think it is amazing thing that you're doing, and the world should know about people like you. The world needs more people like you. The schools need more people like you. So I love that the schools are allowing you to do these presentations as well. And again, not even just schools, just outside of that, because anyone who is in a position of leadership
mhm.
needs this.
Thank
Yeah, so
you.
I ask every guest this because we are a women empowerment organization, a women
Mhm.
empowerment platform.
Yes.
Who is one woman who empowered you to be the woman that you stand as today?
Whew. There's a combination of women, but
Or women. That's another thing I tell people, or because some people have a village, and which
mhm,
is I had a village too.
yeah,
A woman or women.
I would say first my mom. I see my mom
Yeah.
um overcome so much. I seen her, and as a little girl, you don't know because you know,
Yeah, yeah.
but as a grown woman now, seeing her navigate in 22, we lost my grandma, which was mom, in 23,
Mm,
lost her husband, and then in 24, my brother, he was 48.
yeah.
I've
Wow.
seen mom navigate and rise
Navigate through
through
that.
all of that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Mm,
um, but beyond it, just her tenacity, her will to say, "I'm gonna do whatever I can for my children," and this is
Yeah.
little children. And seeing the way she took care of my brother, like her husband, like just seeing her
Mm.
be there, it is put some dog fight in me.
Yeah.
I had a spiritual mama, God rest her, she passed in 24. But she downloaded so much spiritual impartation into me to say, uh, daughter, be all that God has called you to be. And then I had
Mm.
my pastor, she was a lady, she passed me 8 years in Maryland, and she passed away Christmas a year ago. And
Mhm.
her whole thing was, she would always say this to me, like, um, you know, take your place or get taken over.
Mm.
Your place in the
Ooh,
kingdom,
that's good. Yeah.
taking over, like do what it is that God has told you to do.
Mm.
The word be your unrefutable word of truth, and keep speaking this word no matter what you say. And so the
Yeah.
combination of those two women, I have a mentor, Miss Rhonda, like these women, and Rochelle, they see, for me, it's like they see in me what I don't
Well,
always
you
see
don't.
in me. And it's
Yep.
like,
Yep. That's
what
how it works.
for? Where do you get this stuff from?
Yeah.
Because I won't even see it. And that just the constant pour in and pour out. And it's
Yeah.
like, Lord, I thank you. And two of them have since gone on to glory. And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm living off of
Yeah.
this word, but I'm living off that impartation. I'm living
Yeah.
off the wisdom. I'm living off the words. Sometimes I can hear in my mind something they would say to me. Sometimes I can
Yeah.
hear like something that was said. I remember Apostle Nikki would always say, like, when people come to you with all their problems, she says you pull them into your peace. You don't let them pull you into their storm.
Mm.
People come with all of their things.
Mm.
I have to remember that I got to pull you into my peace. The peace
Yeah.
surpasses all
Yeah.
understanding. This is what
Mhm.
we gotta go to right now, because it's gonna help you and it's gonna help me to
Mhm.
navigate what you're going through. And so these women,
I like that. Yeah.
they help me.
Yeah. Wow, that is powerful and beautiful. And I told you this before, your light is shining. And you saying that now about what those women poured into you, it's visible.
Yes.
Um yeah, it's visible. Yeah, I thank you for sharing so much. But before you go, share, do you have anything coming up for, give everyone your website, how they can reach you, if they, need you to be a speaker, like I said, I think what you're doing is really needed, uh, yeah. So just share your information, and anything new that you have coming up this year.
Will do. Thank you again so much for having me on your platform. So it's SimeneWalden.com. So you see my name up here, Simene without the apostrophe, in the website, www.simenewalden.com. You can go there. You can find all the links. If you want to book me, you can see some of my past engagements and testimonies up there. You can follow me on social media. I'm back active on all social media platforms, Simene Walden. Simene Speaks on Instagram and on TikTok. So I right now just have Blue Velvet just coming and turning and turning. So we doing all of pre-recorded sessions now that you see every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But every quarter there's going to be a live event, and so let me tell you the exact date. It's going to be
Yeah.
here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Most people don't know that I'm back in Charlotte. I've been kind of incognito for myself for the last 4 5 months. It's like, Lord, why am I back here? But okay. But March the 21st, I'm going to have a live recording of Blue Velvet Podcast. And so that's the next thing that's coming up. And then I have a women's empowerment event. I'll be a speaker on the 28th. That's already in the works. So those are the things I have coming up now. So just tune in with us every Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you're up, I believe it's going to be 7 p.m. Pacific Standard
7 our time, yeah, 7 our time, yep.
Time. Guys,
Yeah.
time. So it's
So
in
for the
time.
LA people, tune in to her show. Yeah.
And you're gonna see your special guest, Miss Rochelle, this coming up really soon. So please, if it's haven't already aired by the time you see this, please make sure. Which I don't think it is. I think you will see it. It's coming Friday, so tune in on
After.
Friday.
Yeah, it'll be after this. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so
So
tune
it's
in on
coming up
Friday
Friday. Yep, Friday. Yep.
at
Me
7.
and the beautiful Simone will be on your screens again. I just love that God connected us.
Me too.
Again, we got to shout out the Forbes Black group.
Yes,
uh,
right.
through
Shout out
the,
to
because
God.
that's how you found me. Yeah. So shout out to that group. I just love that God connected us. I love the alignment of what we both do. We talked about that, off
Mhm,
camera.
mhm.
I think it's a blessing, and I think I know that you are blessing someone on our platform this evening. I know that you are not just educators but leaders. And we've been really this in 2026. Like I said with the other Bridging the Gap podcast, we're focusing on that because anybody who knows me, I have a passion for kids.
Yeah,
And so for our youth, and so we're really focusing on that. Um, how we tend to our youth, how we love on our youth. So
yeah.
we're this year we are really focusing on that on both of these shows. So again, I just thank you for coming on to the show. It has been a blessing. I thank you to all of our viewers for tuning in to another episode of the Women Can Do Show. Be sure to subscribe. That subscribe button is right there. Just click it and subscribe and spread the word because we have some amazing shows lined up this year. We have some amazing guests to share. This show is all about pouring meaningful things into you. You can go buy the purse. That'll give you a temporary satisfaction, but when people pour into you, you can carry that through your life because that's in here. That's in the inside, right? And so that's what we want to offer with this show. So again, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the Women Can Do Show. Also, be sure to subscribe to our website, www.iCanDo.biz. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at iCanDoBiz. And when you subscribe to our website, you will receive our monthly newsletter again because we have our live in studio audience podcast tour coming up. So you'll only know the dates if you subscribe and follow us on all of our social media platforms. Thank you all and have an amazing rest of your week. God bless you, Simene. God bless you all. Good night.
Good night.